Introduction to Philosophy, Metaphysics and Epistemology, Reality and Knowledge. Chapter 4, The Allegory of the Cave. In Book 7 of Plato's Republic, Socrates tells Glaucon a story about prisoners chained in a subterranean cave that has raised fire behind the prisoners. The captors carry objects as shadow puppets projected on the wall in front of the prisoners. Since these prisoners have never seen anything else, they believe that the puppet show is the real world. Their only intellectual outlet is identifying what the shadows are, and whoever is able to do that the best receives honors and praises from the other prisoners. However, if one were to be freed and looked towards the light at the opening of the cave, he would feel pain, analogous to the discomfort of walking out of a dark movie theater during daylight hours, only far worse since this is the first time he's ever seeing daylight. His body would ache, just like getting off of a long flight, moving around for the first time after many hours, but again, far worse as this is the first time he has ever moved around. However, as his eyes adjust, he will be able to make his way outside and see the shadows of things on the ground from the light of the sun. At first, the shadow puppets he remembers from the cave will seem more real to him, but once his sight has adjusted completely, he will be able to look on things themselves, and eventually the sun itself, and these things will no longer be painful. After seeing the truth of the world above, he will no longer be impressed with the honors of the lower world. Indeed, he will pity them. He may even want to share the truth with the other prisoners, but upon re-entering the cave, he will appear blind and bewildered, and the prisoners will believe leaving the cave will ruin their eyes and their ability to identify shadows that gives them honor. Therefore, they will not only say that he has lost his intellect, they will think of him as an enemy. What Socrates is describing is the painful process of education, similar to the pains and confusion we experience when reading the Theaetetus. However, once our eyes adjust and we become more comfortable with philosophy, it will become less painful, and we can even come to enjoy it, and perhaps even only want to do philosophy. Indeed, if you share philosophical ideas with non-scholars, they may say that philosophy has made you crazy, like the prisoners in the cave, and you may no longer value the less intellectual things you once valued. Socrates continues that philosophers ought to be trained to have this appreciation of the world above, so that they prefer to remain in contemplation at this philosophical level, but should be forced to return periodically to hold political positions, since they will be reluctant, unlike ambitious statesmen who are driven by greed and glory. For philosophers will have a greater understanding of virtue, and will therefore be better able to institute moral policies than ambitious statesmen. This allegory may not have been entirely metaphorical for Plato. He may have actually believed that there was a higher world, a world of perfect forms, forms that all objects, beings, ideas, and entities participated in or imitated to be what they are. This is a metaphysical component of Plato's philosophy that Aristotle did not share with his teacher, but likely motivated him to pursue philosophy in his own way. You should expect that as we work through our text, we will continue to experience these educational pains, but also trust, as I said in Lecture 1, after having dealt with such heavy issues repeatedly, dealing with lighter ones will become much easier, and the heavier ideas will come to be more manageable as well, perhaps even enjoyable.